What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Sunday morning episode of the Daily Juice Podcast. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me across all of my socials at Sports Talk Matt, and we are back after a Saturday. This is the second podcast I have taped on this Saturday into a Sunday, the Sunday morning episode of the Daily Juice Podcast. We did it on Saturday morning for Saturday. It wound up being profitable for us. We wound up 2-1, up 0.9 units. Arizona could have swept the board for us, but they lost the game by 4. We took 2. It says 1.5 on your screen, but we ended up taking +2. Auburn wins the game outright like I thought. Take Auburn money line, and then Georgia and Missouri flew over, easy over in that game. So a 2-1 mark and up 0.9 units. I would have loved to have swept the board there. College basketball has been the one sport. I mean, it's so funky. Normally, college basketball is great for me, and hockey has been sort of the bugaboo. We're 10-4 betting hockey this year. In college basketball, we are currently 8 games under 500 for college basketball. So it's just been one of those funny years. I need to start to build a portfolio for our national championships future tickets, and that's going to start coming up probably maybe even tomorrow. We're going to start to do that. I might wait till I get back to Vegas. Just depends upon the prices that I see. So I can jump down to Massachusetts and I can get a bunch of different stuff. I'm here in New Hampshire where currently it is snowing like hard. So we're expecting 8 to 10 inches of snow here in New Hampshire, which is not typical for me being the Vegas guy that I am, but I am from this part of the country. So it's not like I haven't seen this before, but I may jump down to Massachusetts if there's some things that I like in the futures market for college basketball. And that's a way kind of for us to potentially make up a little bit here as to what we've lost in college hoops. But, everything's been great in 2025 except college basketball, which is kind of funny, but, is what it is. So 2-1 mark last night, and we head towards a Sunday where we have a bunch of plays currently live for golf. Now, let's take a look at the Genesis. We played Patrick Cantlay to come in the top 20 at +110 for a half a unit. He shot a 68 yesterday, and he is currently tied for 4th. He moved up 14 spots yesterday. He shot a 4 under par, started the day even money, and wound up going ahead and jumping all the way to 60 with a 68, dropped into the top 5 for us. So as long as he comes out there and plays well today and comes in the top 20, we will catch that +110. The exciting news is that Sam Stevens is 1 under par. He's currently tied for 16th. He is close to making a run, I think, after shooting 72, 71, 72. If he comes up and shoots a 70 here today or better, good shot he's going to wind up in the top 10. If he winds up in the top 10, that's a 5-1 return on a half a unit bet, so win 2.5 units on Sam Stevens to come in the top 10. I'm going to add to our card. Now, there's 2 bets I think you can make for this. 1, Ludwig Åberg is currently 6 under par. He is 2 strokes back from Patrick Rogers and Denny McCarthy. 2 guys who are not really used to being in this position. Tony Finau shot a 67 yesterday, 69, 67 for him. I don't mind an Åberg bet for him to win the whole thing. I don't mind a Tony Finau bet for him to win the whole thing. Most books have Åberg somewhere at +300, +400 to win the tournament. Finau, you're going to find somewhere similar +400, +500. But I never want to leave a half a unit hanging, and I've got a half unit play to give you guys for the Daytona 500 here today. So I'm going to come in and bet another play. This time, though, I'm going to come and bet my old friend Willie Z. Will Zalatoris. For those of you who have been around my golf betting for a while, you know how I feel about Willie Z. I'm a big fan of his, but I'm also a big fan of his early in the year. He wears down. He tends to get tired. Kind of a slender frame, has had a back injury he's been dealing with, and the longer he plays on the PGA Tour, the more that he tends to struggle health-wise. He starts to get banged up. So Will Zalatoris currently is he's played okay. He hasn't played outstanding, but he's played okay. He to come in the top 20 is not crazy. He's currently tied for 33rd. He has shot 74, 73, 71, trending in the right direction. But the cool thing about the way this tournament currently is set up, being tied for 33rd at 2 over par, he's only 2 strokes out of the top 20. He's only, what? For a top 10 finish, top 10 currently starts at 3 under. That could probably move to 2 under by the time we get the tournament going on Sunday. He's about 4 strokes off. He's not that far away at 2 over par. He's not that far off to come in the top 10. I think Will Zalatoris, there's some serious value. Now, here's the one hook. I'm in New Hampshire. So while I tell you guys I never play dead heat rules, I have no choice, okay? I have no choice here but to play dead heat rules with Will Zalatoris, unless I want to jump through a lot of hoops to get down in other places. And as I said, it is currently snowing incredibly hard here in southern New Hampshire. So I can't drive to Massachusetts and play at a book that doesn't have dead heat rules. In New Hampshire, there's one book, and that's DraftKings. So I have to play it with dead heat rules. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to play this Willie Z bet with dead heat rules. By doing that, we do get a better price. At top 10 with ties, it's 16-1. Now, that number probably gets adjusted, but if Willie Z does come in the top 10 and we do it with ties, heck, if he comes out outright on the top 10, Will Zalatoris will wind up getting ourselves a really nice cash. But at 16-1, we're going to have to wait and see what that payout is for Will Zalatoris if he does come in the top 10. But for a half a unit at 16-1, I mean, it's maybe it turns into a 9-1 or an 8-1 or a 7-1, but it's worth it, I think, to come in and take it with Willie Z, because I do think he's going to have a run here on Sunday. So that gives us 3 golfers to watch in the final round of the Genesis here today, okay? Sam Stevens, Patrick Cantlay, and Will Zalatoris. Those last 2 are golfers that I have bet on a lot here over the last couple of years on the Daily Juice. We're going to come in here and bet it again. Willie Z, top 10 with ties. The other 2 are not. The other 2s are not dead heat rules, okay? The other 2 counts. This will be dead heat rules. So, it's true odds. The other 2 are 5-1 and plus 110. Those are regardless. Those odds are not changing. 16-1 may change. That's why the odds are inflated for Will Zalatoris. Most likely will be adjusted if he does come in the top 10, but we're going to throw a half a unit down on that. Now, what are we doing with the other half a unit? The Daytona 500 is today, okay? Look, there really is only... I like doing head-to-heads, but I don't know enough about NASCAR this year to do head-to-heads. All I know is that Chevrolet has dominated the Daytona 500. They've won the last 2 races. They're going for a three-peat, and there are numerous drivers that if you take Chevrolet at plus 140, there are numerous drivers that you can jump in and feel very good about for them to win the Daytona 500. I know Denny Hamlin with Toyota is something to talk about, and people have kind of raved about it and said, this is a guy that I'm going to wind up backing. But to me, I think when you talk about just who you can bet on from a Chevrolet standpoint, there are so many drivers that give you a chance to come in and win this. I mean, it's been Chevy dominating for a while. They've been the fastest vehicle. Chevy and Ford have split at super speedways. 19 of the last 22 races have been won by Chevy or by Ford. But when it comes to Chevrolet, I mean, you're talking about Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, talking about William Byron, Chase Elliott. I mean, these are all drivers that are going to be driving Chevys at the Daytona. Half a unit, Daytona 500 plus 140 for a Chevrolet driver to win the Daytona 500. Throw a half unit down on that right there for that bet at plus 140. Now, there's one college basketball game that I'm going to be watching here. I know Michigan's playing Ohio State. It's a big game in the Big Ten. I don't know what to make of it. I would lean towards Michigan, but I don't know what to make of that game. The other game that you have to watch is the Creighton Bluejays against St. John's on the road for first place in the Big East Conference. Number opened up 5, immediately bet to 6.5. KenPom has this as a 7-point win for St. John's. This number is too high. Look, the Jays might get killed, okay? It's absolutely possible. 73-67, so it's a 6-point win. Sorry, not a 7-point win, 6-point win for St. John's. It's a 3 p.m. Eastern time start. Fox Sports 1 got this game from MSG. St. John's defensively has been tremendous this year. They're number 2 in efficiency in the country. They're 27th in field goal percentage. They are 189th in three-point defense, but they're 8th in two-point defense. The Creighton Bluejays are 48th in efficiency on offense. They're 19th in effective field goal percentage on offense. They're 2nd in two-point shooting thanks to Ryan Carpenter, and they're 140th with three-point shooting. Stephen Ashworth has been hot late to improve that. This really comes down to the offense for St. John's. They turn you over a ton. And since they do turn you over a ton, defensively, they are 15th in turnover percentage on defense in college basketball. This is Rick Pitino. If the Jays turn the basketball over, the Creighton Bluejays will lose this game badly. But MSG is not like, this is where the Big East tournament's being played. Like, Creighton's played a ton of basketball at MSG. They won by 1 in Omaha. 6.5? This number seems way too heavy. St. John's may win this game, but this number seems way too heavy for a defensive team for the Jays, who are 27th in defensive efficiency and 16th in effective field goal percentage on defense, 32nd in three-point defense, and 21st in two-point defense, and they're coming off of a loss. Same with St. John's. They lost their last game to Villanova. They're going to be mad and furious and ticked off as to what's going on, but the Jays are 7-3-1 on the road this year. They're 11-2-1 in the Big East Conference, and St. John's is 15-9-1 ATS on the year, 8-5-1 in the Big East, 9-6 at home. But it's not like they've been good, but against Providence, they were laying 13. They won by 2. Against Marquette, they were laying 2.5, and they won by 6. Like, the Jays are the only team, or one of 2 teams, to have beaten St. John's this year. Villanova and Creighton are the teams, both on the road. I don't understand this number that Marquette winds up being a 2.5-point dog at St. John's, but the Jays are a 6.5-point dog after they lost to UConn. All of a sudden, there's not an injury to the Jays. There's no significant person who can't play here for the Jays. They lost. It snapped a 9-game winning streak for them. They had covered for 10 straight games. This number, look, St. John's may win this game, but they win the game by 3 or 4 points. Like, maybe it's 2 possessions, but 3? More than 3 possessions for St. John's? I don't understand this at all. Give me the points. Creighton Bluejays plus 6.5. Keep on betting Jays. Creighton may win the game, but we'll take them at plus 6.5 for the Creighton Bluejays today. All right, so plays for Sunday. Sam Stevens, top 10 at 5-1 for a half a unit. Patrick Cantlay, top 20, plus 110 for a half a unit. Those bets are from Thursday morning's podcast. Willie Z, top 10, but this is including dead heat rules, so ties will come into play here. 16-1, but that number may change. Half a unit on Willie Z to come in the top 10, currently tied for 33rd at the Genesis Invitational. The Creighton Bluejays at plus 6.5 at minus 110 on the road at St. John's here for 1.1 units. And a Chevy to win the Daytona 500 today, plus 140 on that. We're throwing a half a unit down on that bet for Chevy to be in victory lane, any Chevy to be in victory lane for the Daytona 500. In case you don't know, there's 3 manufacturers: Ford, Chevy, Toyota. Those are your 3 manufacturing options for the Daytona 500. Today, the Great American Race. We're going with Chevy to win the Great American Race. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me across all of my socials at Sports Talk Matt every single morning, wherever you guys get your podcasts. It is the Daily Juice.